But do you think, look, I'm not going to go crazy over the Wizards again, but 4 matters. They won 11-14. They've won 6 in a row on the road. The Warriors, that is. They are playing better basketball. Now, can you start to beat some good teams here? Look, if a team is shorthanded, you don't apologize for it. You stack the win. It is what it is. At this time, beggars can't be choosers. You got to just go out there and win basketball games. But it can get hot here. And with Chris Paul back in the fold, in the playoff series when the game does slow down, Chris Paul's going to get you in a position to get quality shots. And the difference between Jordan Poole and Chris Paul, we saw it on this, and I love Jordan Poole. I'm a big Jordan Poole fan, and I feel actually bad for him. Last night was atrocious.
It was hard to watch. I felt bad for him too, man.
He's going to feel bad for himself when he watches the film from last night. The film don't lie. And there was 3 straight possessions in that third quarter where he airballs a 3. He doesn't get a shot up. The ball slips out of his hand. He gets a shot blocked by GP2. I mean, it was 3 possessions where he literally gift wrapped the Warriors 8 points. It's like, here you go. And all of a sudden, the Warriors go on that run. He turns the ball over 6 times. He had more turnovers last night, FP, than field goals made. And it defensively. Remember that Draymond Green is one of the last sequences of the game where Draymond Green throws a bounce pass from half court. They get a layup. And Jordan Poole's right in front of him. And he, jumps into the passing lane, but his hands stay on his side. He jumps away. It was just so awkward where he jumps away from the pass. It's like, if you had your hands up, maybe you get a deflection. Defensively, he stands straight up, FP. How are you going to play defense when you're standing straight up? He loses his when he's defending a guy, he loses his guy all the time, whether it's box outs or running off of screens. That difference between Chris Paul and Jordan Poole, even at the age of 39, you see Chris Paul get the team in the right set. He organizes the team. He doesn't turn it over. Where Jordan Poole is just helter-skelter, and I don't know how much the punch had to do with it, but right now, that guy is not a $32 million a year player.
Chris Paul's solid.
And Chris Paul's solid. And you see why Mike Dunleavy, he deserves some credit for making that move. You know what? We need a point guard here. We need a professional in here to get the second unit rolling. And now Chris Paul alongside Klay Thompson, TJD, and at times JK is going to be deadly for opponents. But the difference is right there, FP, right in front of your eyes.
There's no feeling sorry for guys at the highest level because they're professional athletes, are making a lot of money. But I felt bad for Jordan Poole last night. He looked defeated to me. Just like his body language looked defeated to me. And when you put yourself in his shoes, you think about it you come out of University of Michigan, you're back and forth, your rookie season, all of a sudden you start to blossom and flourish. You're talking about him as a perennial all-star, the replacement of Steph Curry. He's making 40-footers left and right. Mm-hmm. He leads them to a championship. Then you get the contract. So you go from all of that to a championship, a ring, and a contract. And then you have a horrible season.
Right.
And everybody's, what happened to Jordan Poole? And they get traded to the worst team in the NBA, or one of the worst teams in the NBA. Mm. He's gone through a lot. If we're going from the human sports psychology standpoint about this, he's gone through a lot. He's went to the top of the mountain to now to the bottom. And there's 2 ways you can go with this. It takes a lot of mental toughness to pick yourself up off the mat and go look, I'm still in the NBA, still got opportunity.
Right.
But then you looked at his body language last night. You looked at his facial expressions. He just looked defeated.
He did.
He looked defeated.
He even picked up a technical on a no-doubt carry. He
looks different to me.
He was goofy last night. It was like, what happened to this guy?
We haven't been fine focused on the Wizards for obvious reasons.
Right.
Why would you?
Why would you?
Why would you? Other than Jordan Poole. So in that regard, he's been through a lot. And the punch. And I said this yesterday, and it might have been misunderstood. If that punch derails his career, then you have to maybe question the mental toughness of somebody. Mm-hmm. And that's. I hope that didn't have anything to do with it. I hope that he can turn his career around because it was tough to watch. I felt bad for him last night. I usually don't have the pity pot or empathy for players because, hey, it's big boy sports. Pull up your pants. You're making $30 million a year. Figure it out. But last night watching him, because he helped us win a championship as Warrior fans, there had to be some sort of empathy there last night watching this guy.
The Warrior fans still love Poole.
That was hard to watch.
There was Warrior fans getting autographs for Poole. They still love him, but that was bad. That organization may not be the best for him. The structure around him, he needs some veteran help. It's going to be a long off season for JP, no doubt about that. All right, but based off what we've seen so far, folks, 957-9570. Based off of what we see so far, after where the Warriors were just over a month ago, remember just over a month ago, they're 19-24, 5 games under 500. Did moving Clay to the bench save this season?
Save it how? Save it how?
Save the season in terms of not being a play-in team or not being a playoff team, not being over 500. Did it save the season? Because now, remember the conversation we're having on Friday and the conversation we're having on Monday. Do you fear anybody in the Western Conference? Can they make a deep run? I don't think anybody thought it was possible with Clay in the start lineup at this point. It was just, and it's not Clay's fault. I'm not singling him out, but it just wasn't working. But moving him to the bench, now you get more shots from J.K. in the starting lineup. Now you get Draymond Green roaming around. You get Wiggins, who's a lot more comfortable. Pods is another ball handler that you have at that starting unit. Did moving Clay to the bench save this season? Did it?
Well, you can make an argument that Kuminga's development and him being a starter and Podziemski's development and him becoming a starter could save the season because that was the impetus and the onus for moving Clay to the bench. You could argue that Clay's mindset and perspective and attitude and humility to be able to go to the bench and be okay with that. Maybe not initially, but right now he's really wrapping his head around it. So yeah, I think all these things are, and it's taken Steve Kerr to find the cheat codes. It's taken him this long to figure that out because it's been a lot of things. It's been suspensions and injuries and oh my God, what do we do right now for him to find the right combination?
Right.
And you feel like they have, I don't even know if it's still the right combination. I don't even think Steve knows what the right combination is right now.
Right.
And I feel like it's on a nightly basis on who the final five are going to be based on their performance throughout the game. Your minutes are determined by your performance on that. There's a couple guys that are immune to it. They're free, right?
Right.
Steph Curry's always going to be in there. So I don't know. I think that's a great point. Yeah. I don't know if it saved the season, but they're playing a lot better.
888-957-9570. After where the Warriors were just over a month ago, the moving Clay to the bench saved the season. Now, Travis Irby on YouTube. What up, Travis? He believes, and there's validity to this, that the young guys have saved the season. Kuminga starting and ascending. Podziemski ascending. They saved the season. I could subscribe to that. Kuminga coming on in his third year, having that third-year leap, has a lot to do with where the Warriors are at. All of a sudden, you got a player there. We were talking about maybe trading the guy. Boy, all of a sudden, he's a player. He drops you 21, 6, and 5 last night, 10 to 13 from the floor. It doesn't take a three. Saying that's huge. Let's go to Daker in the city. Daker, what's happening?
What's up, morning, gentlemen? I love what Clay's doing. I love how he's kind of accepting this. I said it before. I kind of likened it to Robert Horry. You just got to fill your role. It's about matchups. And like FP said, your play determines your minutes. Even finishing games, you're not going to just throw out the guys you want out there because that sounds right. You need to neutralize what you have to neutralize and create the dynamic you need to finish. I just think when it comes to that second unit, it's deadly. And like we all know, Steph Curry on any team, they have a puncher's chance, right? And bottom line is, if we can get that right combination of veteranship and youth, we pretty much have like two different starting units, and I love it. Props to Clay. I hope he really, really takes this in stride. And yeah, man, I don't know if it saved anything, but I think we have found maybe the next stage, and I hope it grows. So,
good call.
All right, y'all. Have a
good call.
One.
The next stage, the next chapter of Klay Thompson's career, the next stage. Off to a good start.
The next chat. Are you reading the YouTube chat right now?
What did they say?
There's a lot of like Jordan Poole had that great year, let him do a championship. Is that Brock Purdy? Is Brock Purdy going to be like Jordan Poole and fall off?
Boy, well.
I'd be lying if the thought didn't cross my mind once or twice. I'm still on the Brock Purdy bandwagon.
Well, let me tell you
I'm not that much of a front runner, but that thought has crossed my mind, dude.
It's not about being a front runner, FP. It's about knowing Kyle Shanahan and who he is. And if you don't believe that if Brock Purdy regresses at some point this season with a contract on the line, we're talking about contract years.
Think about that.
Shanahan will pivot in a heartbeat.
Possibly.
You don't think Kyle Shanahan's thinking about Kirk Cousins right now? You'd be a fool to think not. I'm not believing Shanahan.
Kirk Cousins.
Dude, Kyle Shanahan, when it comes to quarterbacks, I don't trust him. He will move off you in a heartbeat.
I'm not a Kirk Cousins guy. I watched that
either.
Netflix quarterback show, and he's a golly jeepers. Dang it, guy.
FP. Me and you were in lockstep here.
Like that!
I was in Maui watching that, right? I'm at poolside Maui.
He's such a nice, he's a great dad and a great husband. God bless him.
Look at it like this, FP. And I'm going to tell all our audience out there, look at man, I've been blessed. Staying at the Grand Wailea in Maui was next level. Now, it cost me a pretty penny. I need a basketball season to hurry up and get here to make up for that trip. But I was at the Grand Wailea watching the quarterback doc poolside. And when I'm looking at the internet and I'm hearing Kyle Brandt on Good Morning America said, Kirk Cousins stole our hearts in America with the quarterback doc. And I'm like, the biggest takeaway was Patrick Mahomes is a badass.
Yes.
That's the biggest takeaway.
Dude.
He's great. And these other guys are just guys.
He's a fierce competitor.
Here's how I looked at the quarterback doc. Mariota stock down. You quit on your team. You got surgery when you got bitched and you moved to Las Vegas.
That was weak. Something missing there from a leadership quality.
That was weak.
That was like,
weak.
Whoa.
Yeah, that was weak.
Whoa.
And I like Mariota, but that was weak. Kirk Cousins, I get away from the game on a Tuesday. Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk and Maluso said, dude, really? You take a Tuesday off in the NFL season? Yeah, you don't want to be great. The great ones don't do that. They don't. The biggest takeaway was Patrick Mahomes is badass. Next thing you know, Patrick Mahomes beats the Niners in the Super Bowl once again. But if you don't think, if Purdy struggles, that Kyle Shanahan will have wandering eyes, you got to be a fool to think that Brock Purdy, you can think that Brock Purdy's a franchise quarterback. You better prove it next year, Brock. And I like Brock. I do.
I'm happy with Brock Purdy.
No, I am.
Brock's one of those guys going to have to prove it his whole career every game. He doesn't,
especially under Kyle Shanahan.
He doesn't have the luxury of taking a deep breath ever. Even if he gets the contract, he's still always going to have the Mr. Irrelevant tag to him. I don't want to speak this into existence. I'm sorry I threw the show in this direction, but I was just reading the chat line on YouTube, and Brock Purdy is not going to be Jordan Poole.
I don't think he'll be Jordan Poole.
I hope Jordan Poole figures it out.
Yeah, I do too. He's got a long way to go, but
he's got to go to a winning team, I feel like.
He does. But
so,
boy, if you don't think Brock Purdy, if he regresses this upcoming season, I'm telling you this is what tipped me off. Voice of the 49ers, who we all know. Voice of the Niners.
Yeah.
Said, I was listening to, obviously we're going back and forth and listening to the game on the radio, driving to Levi Stadium. And, the thought went through his mind that maybe they should have benched Brock during the Green Bay game. He said he had that thought that maybe you go to Darnold because Brock was struggling that bad against Green Bay. That was the voice of the Niners. I don't think, he's affiliated with the team and all that. And wait a minute, you had a thought about benching Brock during the Green Bay game because that's how bad Brock was playing. That's how poorly he was playing. That he was talking about Sam Darnold. I was like, wait a minute. So if that's not coming from anywhere, in my opinion. It's not coming from anywhere. It just doesn't just get floated out there. I think Brock's going to have to ball out next year to get that money. They can say all the things they want to say about Brock Purdy. He regresses at any point next season, FP. We're going to be having a different conversation around these points.
So
I'm optimistic, I'll say.
What you're alluding to is that thought just didn't pop into the broadcaster's head. Mm-mm. That maybe he heard something. That maybe the Niners were thinking about doing that. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're playing for your life in the Super Bowl and the playoffs. The old cliche, there is no tomorrow if you don't figure it out. I don't know that crossed my mind.
No, it's crossed my mind because I've seen this movie with Kyle Shanahan. I've seen it. I mean, this guy, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think we're there yet, and I'm pulling for Brock. I don't think the Super Bowl was Brock's fault, but there were times during that Super Bowl I go, boy, Patrick Mahomes, that's greatness. And then Brock Purdy, Kansas City was daring him to throw the ball deep. And daring the 49ers to stretch the field deep. And they couldn't do it. They didn't do it against really Detroit. Like Brandon Ayuk caught the ladybug catch, but, that should have been picked. Let's be real. Brock Purdy should have thrown a pick six against Darnell Savage. That's Now, he gets credit for coming back in those games. That's what's great. Jimmy G doesn't do that. Brock Purdy did, so he gets credit for that. But in the Super Bowl, watching how the Chiefs defended Brock Purdy concerned me.
No, and you can't compare Brock to Patrick Mahomes or anybody to Patrick Mahomes for that matter. But getting back to that point about Cousins, like there's that certain it factor that you see in a champion. You saw with Tom Brady in this documentary right now, Dynasty, and just how competitive he is and how he motivated everyone around him to be better and how he elevated everybody else's play. And that's Mahomes, dude. When you saw the behind this, I always liked him. My dad can't stand him. My dad's a football coach. Can't stand him. He thinks he's cocky.
I'm a Mahomes fan.
I'm like, no, dude, you gotta watch. You gotta watch the show, and it whole new respect for that guy.
Like, the regular season game, the regular season game last season at Levi Stadium, and we're gonna see Mahomes come to town next season again. God bless our souls. Kansas City's coming back to Levi Stadium. Oh. I'm already getting a migraine thinking about it. It's one of the 5 best performances I've ever seen from a quarterback at Levi Stadium. He threw for over 423 yards with 5 touchdowns.
When he was mic'd up on that show, who's the defensive end for the Raiders? I'm drawing a blank.
Max Crosby.
Max Crosby was talking smack to him, and he was talking back. He's like, "Oh, you woke me up. You shouldn't have woke me. You woke us up. You shouldn't have woke me up." I mean, he's just everything about him. Brock Purdy has swagger, he has confidence, but I don't know if he has that level. And maybe that comes with experience because he's only like 24 years old. This is only his first year as a starter. Hopefully he gets better and better and better. And this thought that the chat line and myself is having in stream of conscious radio right now.
No. It's having perspective.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go here. I'm not going to go out here and say Brock Purdy's he's the quarterback for now. Let's see if he's the franchise quarterback. What I watched in the Super Bowl wasn't a franchise quarterback level. It wasn't franchise quarterback type of play.
Well,
it was from Patrick Mahomes.
If you're John Lynch, do you lock him up? Because I lock up Brandon Ayuk.
You don't have to do anything with Brock right now.
I lock up. There's guys that
Do you lock up Brock?
I know for sure.
Do you lock up Brock? Are you for sure you lock up Brock?
No.
Yeah.
I got to see one more year. And then.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Is that okay?
There is nothing wrong with that.
I got to see.
It's better that you said it than me because if I said it, I'm the hater and I'm a Trey Lance fan.
No, I love Brock Purdy.
See, I like Brock Purdy.
I'm not going to say I love him. His story resonates with me, but the story is still incomplete.
Hey, we got Warriors for the next hour, but I cannot wait to get back to the 49ers because I want to revisit this. Let's go to the lines because you said so. FP.
Well, just before we move on, I'll just throw my little nugget there. I would probably give Brock a deal now.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Just to add to that discourse.
I'm not doing that. BPA, Brian and Palo Alto, one of my faves. What's up, BPA?
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
So, I mean, come on, guys. Obviously neither of you, like anyone that knows football at a pretty advanced level knows in the Super Bowl that Brock Purdy was pressured like 27 times in the game, right? Like, so he didn't really have a lot of time to throw the ball. And so
neither did Mahomes. He was pressured the whole game too.
In the fourth quarter and overtime, Mahomes had all day to throw the ball.
Well, that's because
no one was within a country mile of him in the fourth quarter and overtime.
Well, you know why BPA?
It was low management for Bosa. He was on
the why BPA? It was those 3 and outs stacking up in the third quarter that kept the defense on the damn field and tired their asses out. How about you get a first down in the third quarter?
If you want to know who called Brock Purdy as quarterback, John Lynch did yesterday. Said he's a franchise quarterback and that Brock brings a level of sort of settledness to the organization at the quarterback position they've never had in the Shanahan era and Lynch era.
Did John Lynch ever say that about Jimmy Garoppolo?
No, never.
Oh, yes, he did.
No.
Oh, pull up. Look up some quotes. Look up some quotes. We feel really good about Jimmy. Made him the highest paid quarterback. We've heard this before.
To question Brock. Okay, let's
Trey
talk
Lance.
about
You said it about Trey Lance. We tried to Trey Lance to be the franchise guy. We've heard this before. I can't believe this podium game. Come on, BPA, you're smarter than that.
Nobody ever said Trey was a franchise quarterback. They said Trey's the starting quarterback.
They didn't have to say he was.
And they tried to make him the starting quarterback, which obviously you were a huge fan of, Bonte, and he wasn't no good.
Well, I don't think that's fair. Yeah, bye-bye. Bye-bye.
See, I stuck a stick in the hornets.
Oh, no, I love BPA.
You're all riled up.
Oh, no, I'm not. This is
everyone's
great.
riled up.
Because they said this. They didn't have to say Trey Lance was a franchise guy. They traded heaven and earth to go get Trey Lance to make him the franchise guy. They didn't have to say it. said about Jimmy. Go look up some Jimmy Garoppolo franchise quotes from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. Made him the highest paid quarterback at one time. TC Sacramento. Here, let me try to get this one, Lubman. I know you're running around. You're by yourself back there. There you go. TC Sacramento. What's happening, TC? What's up with my bro?
Man, what's up with my bro? Can you hear me?
I got you, TC. You got FP. Say what's up to FP.
Man, SP, what's up, man?
TC.
Hey, TC, Sacramento's own FP.
Initials in the house, baby.
Yes, sir. Let's go. Let's check it out. Vontae, you on fire. Hey, I disagree with BTA. Man, if y'all don't knock it off as Niner fans, bro, we diehards. If y'all, and listen, I'm over-believing Kyle and John, man. Check it out. Listen, Kyle, do we want to still keep believing this dude? He keep coming out with these questions talking about Brock ain't the guy. I don't even believe John Lynch when he got up on the podium talking about Brock is our guy, bro. I don't believe neither one of these dudes, bro. Y'all better not miss on this draft, bro, and get it together. Seriously, man, I'm not believing none of that, dog. Seriously.
I don't blame you, TC. He's fired up, man. You started something, FP.
I love it.
The chat started something.
I can stir the pot, bro.
No, we all.
That used to be my job in the locker room, bro. I can stir the pot.
Let me tell you something. It's Radio before we get to the injury report. Shask and I are very, very petrified of critiquing Brock Purdy.
Why?
You get labeled as a hater. You hear it all the time because you say one thing about him. And I got petrified of saying anything bad about Brock Purdy. Anything close to it. Hey, what about the deal? Oh,
because of what? Because of Joe would get back.
People just started. We started comparing him to Joe Montana right away. Right away. It's like, do you realize how good Joe Montana was? Everything Brock did just past his Joe Montana. Like, just let Brock be Brock. We're literally comparing Brock Purdy to one of the greatest quarterback, in my opinion, the greatest quarterback of all time.
Same.
So, like, what are we doing here? Let Brock be Brock. Let him grow. He's a good quarterback. But what I saw in the Super Bowl, boy, they didn't have answers. Sure, he was blitzed. We knew the blitz was coming. How about pre-snap reads? How about processing? There's a lot of people out there saying that Brock Purdy, one of the best qualities he had was processing pre-snap before the play. Well, Kansas City was showing blitzes off left and right. They weren't processing very well. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I think we have a franchise quarterback, but what if he regresses? What if he regresses?
I don't think he's going to regress, but I think he needs to improve. And he only had one season as a starter.
Where does he need to improve?
His arm strength was I don't know if it's ever going to be what it was or it ever was a cannon to begin with. And I said when the surgery happened that if he lost a couple of miles an hour on his fastball, it would be a concern. And there was times this year when he wasn't spinning it and was letting it rip. And there was times when he was. I think what you see with Brock Purdy is what you get. I think with experience and reps that the things will slow down even more for him. But there looks like at times it speeds up for him. And that's like the caller said. He had a legit point, dude. He was under a lot of pressure in the Super Bowl. But, like, there's ways to avoid the pressure. I think he's best when he's on the run. He keeps his eyes downfield. He's super accurate on the run. He makes good decisions. I don't know. There's something. There's an intangible with Brock Purdy that makes him so great. And there's also an intangible that I can't put a finger on right now that makes you kind of think, is he the guy forever?
Well, it's pretty funny, man, because, I'm looking at Jason Mishler on YouTube, and BPA just called and said, Brock Purdy was blitzed every other play. Oh, my God, he was blitzed every other play. Who was the best quarterback against a blitz this season? Wasn't it Brock Purdy? Did Brock Purdy shred the blitz? Wasn't it like a no-no to blitz Brock Purdy? Kansas City did it anyway, so I don't want to hear anything but, he was blitzed 21 times. Brock Purdy destroyed the blitz this season. We wanted Kansas City to blitz Brock Purdy.